আচ্ছা, ওই টাইটেল যেটা তোমায় বলেছিলাম, আমি সেই টাইটেলটাতেই শুরু করছি যাতে তোমার কোনো অসুবিধে না হয়। First of all, to understand, truly speaking, to understand the glass menagerie, what is required is that I've told you the other day, what is required is to understand the title also at the same time. So the title is very important for the exams. সেই জন্য টাইটেলের উপর আমি একটু বেশি জোর দিচ্ছি। So starting from the examination point of view, the title Glass Menagerie, even though the family's relationship towards one another in the Glass Menagerie by Tennis Williams is both dysfunctional and questionable. You begin to see a deeper meaning to which the title of the story is very important for us to understand. Because why? The story begins with the family having supper. As this dinner continues, we learn that they are in a single parent household with a, you can say, with a mother, Amanda, who is stuck in a youth, a son, Tom, who's trying to separate himself from dysfunction of his mother. It's a very common thing that happens in every household. But to make it into a great, I mean to say, story, it is difficult to do it. So Tom, who is trying to separate himself from this dysfunction of his mother, we have a daughter, Laura, who has a physical handicap that hinders her from taking part in normal activities, including interacting with people. But as the story moves along, Laura is somewhat broken out of her shell. Tom moves out, and Amanda develops a closer relationship with her daughter. The title, The Glass Menagerie, seems to suggest transparency, fragileness, and special attention and care, which describe exactly what this family is and needs. Reading the play and basing it in relation to the title, it is clear that the title has more meaning than meets first glance. Some argue that the title has no relation whatsoever to the play because of this, of things like who is the main character, how the title moves do not help defining it. But the underlying meaning of the play, of course, lies in the title. That is to an extent understood by all students. If the students do not understand what the title is about, these points may be true that, but the question is asked, why is the Glass Menagerie a good title? The Glass Menagerie is a good title because it leaves a certain mystery to the story. It suggests deeper aspects to the characters in relation to life, and it gives to the depth to the characters. So in the story, there's a scene between Tom and Amanda when they are having a confrontation about Tom and where he goes when he leaves home after work. So as the argument is escalating, Laura's glass menagerie breaks. Glass menagerie is both fragile and delicate, which seems to describe Tom and his mother's relationship. And the breaking of the glass comes at a time when their own relationship, here I mean to say there means all of them, their own relationship cracks. It's very usual, it happens, someone in the family who doesn't understand properly the relationship between the members of the family, such a crack do always take place. The mystery is why this is this glass, why the glass menagerie at this particular time. The suggestive mystery would seem to be the fact that there are, in some ways, like the glass animals, and reared in cases cased in a glass case, making them vulnerable, fragile, and easily broken. The title's mystery is not just towards the character's weakness, but the mystery of the title relations to life. It is clear to point out the relevance of Amanda's Scarlett O'Hara attitude. Tom's getaway attitude doesn't want to pay too much attention to the family, and Laura's over the top shyness. This is also very common among girls in a family, but their behaviors are not totally irrelevant to real life. So at the beginning of the play, Tom says, I reverse it to that quaint the period, the 30s, when the huge middle class of America was matriculating in a school for the blind. Tom gave insight to a time period when the economy is struggling due to the Great Depression. Life is that time was harder, and for Amanda, being the only parent in her household, it was even tougher. Her reverting back to her past is not at all for fresh or uncommon. Humans tend to go back to happier times in their lives. It happens. It happens. Happier times, sad times are altogether a part and parcel of our life. But some families we see that they love to stick to controversies in the family itself. So they are able to cope with the present. All the characters found to cope with the situations, whether it is skipping school or going to the movies. Laura's defect gave her severe introversion that most people suffer from, especially those in her position. And Tom's itch to get out of the nest stems from him getting older and not being able to experience what young men his age do. So the weak period and the fragileness of the economy fit the title and its relevance to life and add a certain depth to each character. So each character in their own way has become, to an extent, a prototype of the character in the novel. The underlying meaning of the title helps to add depth to the characters. So without the title, the play and its characters would be just that characters because the play uses real life situation. It makes it easier to relate to the characters and actually understand each of them. Here you said the characters seem not to understand each of them. Tom says at the end of the story, I didn't go to the moon, I went much farther for time, with the longest distance between places. So by Tom saying this, it shows that these characters are deep and aspire far more than given. By Tom being the narrator, he represents actually his representation is also very long. He represents all the characters and the insight of how they perceive the world around them. So as the play comes to an end, you see the characters evolve from being associated from being in a glass case to finding their way out of that enclosure. The glass menagerie is no longer a relic or just a title about a glass case, but instead a window into the characters themselves. Even though The Glass Menagerie is a great title for such a deep play, some would not agree that Glass Menagerie is a good title. Amanda's fascination with the past, Laura's inferiority complex, and Tom's urge to get out is as transparent as the title and as simple, as deep as either of the characters get. So you see that um, still there are more moments when you are inclined to believe that there is more to them. You see that Amanda's reasonings to live in the past. In the past, I mean to say, not in the present. She always lives in the past. And she thinks that past is a lie. It's based on her present. And because of that, she wants her kids have better lives than she has. Tom unhappiest causes him to write poems and narrate the play so that he can write much more that she is as a character and how she is the most important figure in what the title has to do with the play. So you see, it is a problem of every home that we found around us. But this place problem is same as the problem of every other home. But you see how the members suffer if there is no proper flexibility within the family. The more you begin to look as outside the box, and the more you look at the play for meaning instead of logic, the more you see that the title is more interesting than any other title put in the play. Dennis Williams takes a look into the world of an underclass family in the 1930s who have many issues that may or may not be aware of and puts it in the forefront so that the readers can feel what these characters feel. He has a mother play, both parents because of their broken household, and gives her an outlet from a current situation, which is recapturing her youth. He brings forth a son who sees his broken family and cannot help but fight the urge to fight away, so he refuses to watch movies or to drink, and a daughter who is physically handicapped and is letting this disability hold her back, becoming the woman who should be and the beauty she should feel. These characters give insight to what is real and ultimately then to happily ever after. But for this to be brought to anyone's attention, the title of the story has to be put to pair with what the right author is trying to accomplish and the point that is trying to prove that everyone in this character is very complex and they don't know each other. It is in many families that we find such type of people. Each family members of a different type, and it is very difficult to understand each one of them. So some argue that choosing the Glass Menagerie as the title of this play gives no meaning to what the play's message truly is. But this title makes perfect sense. We are quick to judge what we do not understand, therefore, to some it would not. But this title goes beyond just words and focus on the meaning. The glass menagerie means glass is easily broken, can have the cracks and makes even the tiniest flaws visible, but it can also be repaired. What we see looking in is not really what is going on, but it is what something out is what is more important. So the title Glass Menagerie brings to prominence the collection of the figurines. Figurines I told you previously only. And here the characters are very much interested in collecting figurines composed of delicate glass and shaped like animals that the equally delicate Laura owns. Of course, Laura has more interest in covering these types of figurines. This title also helps to draw attention to the symbolism of the fragile glass animals who come to represent anything that is delicate, too delicate to last in the day-to-day outside world. Because life is harsh and difficult for Laura, she has fabricated an imaginary world symbolized by the glass menagerie. Laura is even compared to the glass animals in the stage directions in Saint Six. She is like a piece of translucent glass touched by light, given a momentary radiance, not natural, not lasting. So, in a similar fashion, Amanda longs for the world of her youth, in which she was comfortable as Southern Belle, Belle. Tom desires a world that is beyond the mundane and trivial, escaping in books and at the picture shows, the movies. Much like the glass menagerie, all three Wingfields proved to be unrealistic. They each hold another world in their minds, and like the glass figurines, it is a much too fragile world to last. Thus, the title The Glass Menagerie helps to bring to the front the themes of illusions and impossible dreams. So, in The Glass Menagerie, the title symbolizes Laura, the crippled daughter, around whom the play develops. The different animals in their collection express the various aspects of her personality, and the ways in which they cast the light reveal Laura's changing mood. At a more factual level, Laura can connect to her glass animals much more easily than she can relate to the world. One particular piece, the unicorn, is a favorite. I told you unicorn is also not a horse. It is not any perfect animal for its for any perfection, for its shape, for its representation of the fact that it exists in the world. Nothing like that. Laura unconsciously identifies with the unicorn because, in their respective environments, they are both unique. Besides the parallelism between the menagerie fragility and her own physical and emotional weaknesses, Laura is totally different from other girls, just as the unicorn is supposed to feel isolated because it does not belong in any kind of species. When Jim, the gentleman caller, accidentally drops the unicorn, its horn is broken. This turns it into an ordinary animal that will now be able to take its place in the imaginary animal community. Because it is an imaginary with wings, horse with wings. Along the same lines, the fact that Jim has persuaded Dora to dance with him has turned her into an ordinary girl, enjoying the simple pleasures of ordinary life. While this is a fleeting moment, it somehow implies a turning point in Laura's life. She now knows that she can lead a normal life. It will be her decision to withdraw into her dream world once again, or it take courage to fend for herself. So, to be very fact and to be precise, this very title has its own significance. And this very fact of life is a fact of many families where the members of the family are themselves in their own world, as if they are like the figurines of the glass menagerie. Now, the title is therefore from this very concept that the life that we live in is more of a fragility than a reality. We think that we live in reality, but we live in fragility. In this respect, this novel has gained quite a good popularity because the characters themselves, all of them, whoever is involved in it, are in some way different from themselves.